So, like, if we're looking at animation style in this judgment, before we make it to our top five, I think the most crazy animation style was definitely Ed, Edd and Eddy.
Oh, without a doubt. But get that name
Without
out.
a
Get
doubt.
that name off your tongue right now. We are talking about number 6.
Like,
There's a reason you didn't even name them yet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, we.
I just I just want to throw a little mayhem in the mix. That's all it was.
Now,
That's
if
all
you
that
want to
was.
do some mayhem, how about we talk about maybe Powerpuff Girls or Pokemon?
All right, we're not trying to get canceled. We're gonna leave Powerpuff Girls up there. We're gonna
We're
throw.
talking about 90s, not the modern Powerpuff or the remade one like a couple years ago.
Yeah, that.
Yeah, we can leave Powerpuff Girls up there. I just
All
understand,
right. Do we want to consider Pokemon for number 6? Yes or no?
Pokemon for absolutely,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
Just make.
I'll just drink my margarita mix. I got margarita.
You just drinking straight from the bottle.
Yep.
Can't find a bottle opener for your 5th shot or something, but let's just drink the mix straight.
Well, I wanted to mix with my Samuel Adams,
Uh-huh.
but fuck it, it's all good.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed spiced rum and orange juice. That kind of mixed well.
Dean, when did you start drinking
That was a while
again?
ago. That's back when I drank.
Oh gosh, I was like, when did you start drinking again? I thought you
No,
stopped.
no, I stopped for a while now.
Gotcha. I was like, it's been about 4 years since I remember you taking a swig.
Over 2, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
it's been a while. All right, y'all ready? Y'all ready to do this?
welcome everybody to the Unfiltered Pineapple Podcast. Got you again.
Yeah.
Go ahead and take it from here, Miles.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, we are doing a top 10 of the 1990s Cartoon Network's top 10.
Probably should have a top 10 logo somewhere on screen. That'd be a good idea.
It's all good. It's all good. Oh, I think we all have our number ones in our head of top 10 cartoon 90s shows. There were a lot that we weren't able to put on because they started in the 2000s, but out of them all, there are going to be our favorites. Now, Dean, do you have that list of...
Yes, sir. By the way, I'm Dean, and Orik is here also.
Hi there.
What's up, Orik?
Yeah, you.
Oh, we've been sitting here for an hour in silence, just
Yeah.
waiting just to do my intro.
He just
Come out
popped out of the
strong.
shadows.
Came out strong with a monotone hi there.
So, our list for our top 10 today, without a doubt, one of the greatest shows known to us 90s kids, Dexter's Laboratory.
That's
Without a
iconic,
doubt,
yeah.
legendary show.
Nothing says 90s animation like Dexter's Lab.
Without question. They even had their own Justice League. We'll get deeper into that.
I forgot about that. Yeah. What else?
Our next one up on the charts is the Powerpuff Girls, showing that women can also kick ass.
And cost lots of damage to the economy. We'll get into that.
And a monkey.
And a monkey, yeah. Animal abuse. We'll get into it.
And him.
Him, yes.
And him. I forgot about him. Oh my god. That's another.
They always forget about him
that.
too until he shows up.
Number 3. Speaking of him, Johnny Bravo.
The man,
The man,
myth,
the legend.
Hey there, how's it going?
And number 4, also speaking of him, taking care of his family, Courage the Cowardly Dog. Oh, he's a legend. That man has had to deal with so much and got so little praise. Number, all right, where am I at? Number 5.
4.
No, he's on 5. He's on 5.
Number 5. The three brothers, Ed, and Eddie.
Brothers in spirit.
Yeah, because they definitely not related.
No,
It's
absolutely
still,
not. That'd be a
it's
very
still
different
baffled.
show.
It still
That'd be a-
baffled me.
be a very
I just thought
different
the
show.
mama just was very unoriginal in the beginning, but nope, they had all separate parents,
Oh yeah,
which we never saw, which was crazy.
that's good showtelling. That's good showcasing.
Number 6, the one and only Dragon Ball Z. I think out of all this list, Dragon Ball Z is the only one that got their own multiple movies.
Yeah,
Which
yeah,
was
I did.
which is it makes sense. It
Well,
was a legendary.
kind of. The next one is questionable because it's part of a bigger franchise. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
well, the next 2, but the 3. All right, never mind.
The next 5, yeah.
Number 7, a pup named Scooby Doo.
Yeah, that's had some movies.
It's definitely because Scooby Doo, the whole franchise is
That's what I meant. Yeah, the franchise has a pup. I don't think there's been a pup movie, but yeah, this.
The only pup that we that had a movie was Scrappy, and we all didn't like him in live action.
No, that's why they killed him off.
Exactly. Number 7.
8.
Number 8.
You're counting down like the Animal Planet top 10s for animals.
All right, I definitely did.
The most
The
extreme.
most
Extreme.
Number
Yeah, extreme.
8.
Most extreme was amazing. Number 8.
We'll do that show one day.
We definitely have to. Oh, that's a legend.
All
That's
right.
legendary.
I'll add that to the list.
Number 8. The one and only yellow monster Pikachu. Pokemon, the original. Well, I ain't really got much about Pokemon. You know, that's Pokemon took so long just to allow Ash to finally win the whole, what's it called? Not Elite Four.
The champions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, now just
He definitely didn't do it in the 90s. He was still 10 at.
he was still terrible, and he couldn't.
No, I said 10, not I mean terrible and 10. Yeah, he was
The
10
terrible 10s.
Mm-hmm. We'll never listen to him. Number 9. The absolutely. Go ahead and
God, no, say it. It would just with that build up before they even said the name of the show.
Did you? What is it? I don't know. It's like it's a Digimon Otter Chumpton. What is the lyrics to that? I don't remember that.
Digimon, digital monster.
Digital monsters, Digimon are the champion. Yeah.
Are the champions? I always said Digimon's Otter Chump.
Are the chumps? Yeah, that's how you market and get action figures sold. They're the chumps.
The champions. Okay, that sounds a lot better.
Champions, yeah. To the digital world.
Number 10.
Number 10. Can't forget number 10.
The one, the only. The legendary show that we haven't talked about in a very long time. I think a lot of people haven't realized what type of legend this show really was.
Honestly,
Underrated.
Yeah.
Underrated.
It was underrated as this kid had cancer beforehand. This kid is another honorary mention. His name is Caillou.
Caillou, the man who grew up to become the one who grew up to become Saitama in One Punch Man.
We just gonna leave it at that. We just gonna leave it at that. Caillou. That's Caillou. All right, guys. What do y'all think is? What do y'all think y'all's opinion of whatever you believe ranked 10, the lowest of the low of all cartoons? 90s.
It's got to be the legendary Kai nowadays. The one where you just hyped up for so much.
Put Caillou like that?
No.
I don't know.
I
That's
actually-
that's a tough one because it's kind of almost like Sesame Street and things like that. People remember watching Caillou even if it's not their favorite. It definitely everyone recognizes the character when they see the image.
And surrounded by so many good shows, like reading between the lines.
Yeah,
like reading Rainbow.
Of all the shows we've listed, this is the most educated.
This is the most
Other than Johnny Bravo, but that's for a different reason.
But also, Dexter's Laboratory had a whole series of educating people, and had the bootleg. What's it called? What was it? We had a bootleg Hulk. We had a bootleg Captain America.
Yeah.
We had a bootleg
I remember that.
Hawkeye. That was very educational, and they had action figures and everything. Out of everybody, see, education-wise, Caillou 100%. And if you ain't had PBS Kids as a kid,
You missed out.
yeah, you missed out. You missed out on.
There's a lot of good stuff from PBS at that time. I remember. Well, that's
Missed out
another
on.
list.
What's it called? The Boomaphone?
Yeah, with the lemur.
Educational lemur that also taught you to become friends with animals, even
Yeah.
though they couldn't talk back to you, but you talk to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, Caillou. I'm not putting Caillou at the bottom.
You know what? I'll say it. I would say Dexter's Lab is number 10.
You put Dexter. Oh, see, now we got to fight. Now we got to. I can't let that go.
My problem is I was.
Go ahead.
Go on, Orik.
I was thinking Dexter's Lab would be number 9. In all honesty, Tenders, as much as and I like all 10 of these.
Yes.
I do. But if I had to put them, I'd actually put Digimon as 10.
Digimon is 10.
Whoa.
Ooh,
Which is saying something, because I used to remember coming home from school and just watching Digimon. And
See, I preferred watching Digimon over Pokemon.
Yes. I guess real quick, I'm sorry. I think we also have to understand that we have probably different parameters in how we're gauging these. Because when I see Pokemon and Digimon, Pokemon has had a much longer and more significant impact on the cartoon industry, on people growing up, trading card games, everything. So just, comparing Pokemon to Digimon definitely takes second rate to Pokemon, even if it's more favored by a lot of people.
I can say, y'all, yeah, I respect y'all's opinion,
but you're wrong.
But there's very big sleeper on all of this,
mm-hmm.
and it's because it's not the person that we grew up watching, and all of these are not the ones that it's a spin-off of the original show that we grew up really watching. And the one that I'm saying that's number 10 is the bootleg version of our main character in life. And that's Scooby-Doo. A pup named Scooby-Doo.
Pup named Scooby-Doo.
You are in my opinion, you are always going to be the last one because you're not even the Scooby-Doo I grew up watching.
Yeah, it's not Where Are You? It's not, what's that?
Exactly. Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? Yeah.
It's a pup named Scooby-Doo. We watched Little Fred. We watched Little Shaggy.
Yeah, it does.
We watched Little Velma. No,
it does.
No.
It does complicate the canon / lore of how they met in high school and stuff. It's like, oh, they actually knew each other as children.
I can't watch kids driving cars.
Well, Pup Named Scooby-Doo was made, for anyone who doesn't know, Pup Named Scooby-Doo was made in that 90s phase where they turned popular franchises into little kid baby size, like Tiny Toons and other...
Young Justice League, stuff like that.
Yeah. So it was part of a trend. It wasn't so much like, oh, we have this new idea as much as let's get something out there.
You know what? On those conditions, I'll agree with that.
I'm putting, and I don't think y'all remember. I'm looking at right now. I'm looking at the image of the original show, and there is no way y'all gave my man Fred a receding hairline at 5.
Hold on, now I gotta look this up.
You should see Red Herring. Remember the villain Red?
Young gave my boy Fred a receded hairline as a kid, and then in the movie Scooby Doo, I swear, when y'all gave young Fred a receding hairline, that was it for me.
Oh yeah, you're right. That's a sharp ass.
That was he had.
That's a mini Vegeta right there.
Exactly, as a kid.
Yeah.
And then somehow he grew it in with a toupee or something, and he had an actual hairline in the movie. No,
That's a disservice to that man.
We not even. I don't even want to talk about how they did my girl Velma with the glasses.
And yeah, she walked around with her legs just dots back and forth really quick, like a
back and forth, but her eyeball, she looked like she was supposed to be on the Charlie Brown TV show.
Oh yeah, like a Peanuts character.
Exactly. So I have to. That's why I just want y'all to know. For number 10 for me, I'm putting a pup named Scooby Doo.
You know what?
I will. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. You got yours.
I will, out of personal bias, not argue. Because personally, I still quote a pup named Scooby-Doo often and very much enjoyed that because I'm a huge Scooby-Doo fan. Huge Scooby-Doo fan. So for me to drop it below 7 is a pain. But I'm more than willing to concede. And I understand the points and I can put my bias aside and put it down at 9 or 10 if you two both want to do that. I will not argue and let you guys make that decision.
For various conditions that Miles stated, I will agree in this situation. Again, as Miles said, with this entire list, we like all these episodes. We picked the 10 strongest contenders, and we did not pick some of the others that were like, oh, that was a show, or we forgot it existed or just didn't like it, like Cow and Chicken. Fight us in the comments or contact us if you disagree. Cow and Chicken
Bad show.
Yeah. But given the list, someone's got to be at the bottom, and for those reasons of like, it's definitely more of just a trend at the time. Yeah, I enjoyed it. We were young, but also it definitely doesn't have as unique of an identity. It has a cool art style and stuff for Scooby-Doo, but it doesn't have as unique of an identity as all these other ones where everyone has a clear image in their head of stuff. I forgot about the Fred receding hairline. That's funny. They gave him.
I will say that a pup named Scooby-Doo actually did have some enjoyable villains.
No, I agree. It's got some of the...
and places they explored. Like they had an entire episode inside of Scooby's mansion of a doghouse.
No, it was very creative. I agree. It's definitely one of the better reboots of the franchise than like predecessors and stuff.
Or current or some more recent stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. But given its contenders in this. Given the contenders in this list, I would agree it probably is at the bottom somewhere, and I will put it at 10 because it's not a unique.
Because Miles made a good argument. We'll leave it at that. Miles made a good argument.
I don't have to justify anything. Miles did it for me.
I just want to be able to say my piece. That's all I want to do. Just say my piece.
All right. So now for number 9. We have
number 9. We're gonna go with the other dog.
Now we're gonna go with Digimon. The Pokemon copycat. Not really, but Digimon came out strong in the 90s. I'm going to be adamant it's at the bottom, though. Compared to the rest of contenders, Digimon's got to be 8 or 9.
8 or 9, huh?
I can sit back and say, I agree with Digimon being number 9.
9.
Digimon, right now, in my opinion, it was an amazing show. It started off crazy. The main character, I can't even remember his name.
I think that says a lot. I think that says a lot then.
Yeah, I can't even remember man's name.
I remember the theme song. I remember the scenes.
The hairstyles.
Yeah, I remember all the hairstyles. I remember the original monsters. I remember the main villain was like a one-eye looking glob that the character was like, hey, yo.
Oh, the main character's name was Ty. I just looked
That's right. Digivolve.
Yeah. Ty. So I remember the story, like he's coming in the world, he's like, oh yeah, I'm about to live my life, and then he ends up going into the world because his friend's a hacker or something like that, and he ends up finding this device that brings him into the digi world. And then some random monster was like, "Hey man, let me fight for you, so you can save your family and all that type of stuff." And he's like, "You know what? Hey, you look like a bootleg Charmander, so let me go ahead and be cool with you." And then for some reason, in like 3 episodes, he ends up that monster ends up evolving to its like final form and everything, because he's like rivaling with some blonde haired kid that's riding a wolf that's already evolved to his final form. And it moved too fast,
it had like 4 plots going all on at the same time.
I would agree.
For kids, that's very confusing.
Yeah, and
it's
then
fun, but it's confusing.
The villains were attacking against a server, and that server was apparently activating in the real world. And then the main reason he wanted to fight and save, because his sister and his mom was on a train that apparently got derailed, and the villains were apparently attacking the server that was controlling the train. So if they didn't save the server, the mom and sister were going to die. See, I was just like, you know what? I understand it made me feel for him, but I was like, you know what? As an adult now that likes Attack on Titan, I was like, they could die. So I'm still like, it could be number 9. It's just this whole show was a lot. It was just a lot for my young kid eyes, and I was just like, yeah.
The more it's discussed, I agree with all that. It's definitely more of a nostalgia thing, I guess, for the designs and the I also like the card game more than the Pokemon card game. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I think the Pokemon card game was a bit too confusing with energy because it wasn't at all like the video games. It's like this doesn't make sense. What's energy and all that stuff. But yeah, I can agree. It was definitely a lot, especially for a small child to be like, what the heck is with all this nuance and details? And they got 3 different storylines at once, like A plots, B plots, C plots, all of equal weight. Happening because you got like 8 or 10 characters to balance, each with their own Digimon personalities to establish in relationships. Yeah, it's definitely a lot. And then it definitely got confusing. I know I didn't watch the ending or the movies personally, so I think it's definitely more aesthetics for me that's upset. So I'll agree to put Digimon down at 9 if that's what you guys are saying.
Yep.
All right.
All right. We'll let Digimon rest right there. It's not last. It's definitely not last on all of our lists, because some of the shows that we watch weren't even on here. Like Captain Planet. We ain't gonna talk about Captain Planet. We just gonna leave them off. All right. It gets an honorable mention for even existing and even making it on TV.
Yeah, but that was also airing like that's like I think like a popular 80s thing too, like G.I. Joe and stuff. Yeah, He-Man, Captain Planet.
Yeah.
All right, so the next one,
number 8. All right, we're gonna cross out Digimon and pup named Scooby Doo. I just want to share a statistic I just looked up. The not that I'm saying this is number 8, but Caillou is rated 3.8 out of 10 on IMDb. But 70% of viewers liked the show.
Well, it has a charm to it with its slower pacing and like.
Well, it's also not meant for. It's not meant for
adults,
critics.
Yeah.
It's not. I've been watching shows for 40 years. Watch me rip into this preschool.
Yeah, to teach kids how to interact with other kids and adults and how to express their feelings.
That rated Caillou should be put in jail.
Did you say M rated?
No. Anybody that rated Caillou as an adult should be put in jail.
Oh, I thought you were like talking about a spinoff of M-rated Caillou, or it's like the dark version of One Punch Man.
No. I'm just saying, if you took the time to be like, you know what, I'm gonna watch this show as an adult with adult eyes and give it my honest opinion,
and
without
then
a
go
small
online
child,
and
go online, yeah,
without a small child with me.
You should only rate it based upon what your child felt as a kid, looking at this bald kid that clearly is living their life way less than most of the average kids in society are living.
And he's happy. He's happy
He's
about it. Yeah.
happy.
You know what? It does. Even though he's bald and the fan theory is that he's got cancer and stuff, it still represents a minority for kids that don't have full haircuts or anything like that.
Exactly.
So I
Shoot,
agree with that.
All right.
But are we putting Caillou at 8 or are we putting something else there?
Let's get to number 8. Orik, who do you have at 8? Because I think you came out with the rating. Who do you believe?
I'm still gonna come out with the swinging for Dexter's Lab and Caillou 7 and 8.
I'm gonna have to probably put Caillou at 8.
Caillou at 8.
Because everyone does know Dexter's Lab and Caillou. But the premise of Caillou is spoiled brat learning to behave better. It's not just a kid, a nice, good kid learning about the world. It's, I'm a bad kid. Now I need to learn how to be better. So there's a bit of a, for lack of a word, a steeper learning curve for the target audience. You have to be behaving that way to realize you're behaving the right way.
Yeah. One reason why I would put Dexter's above Caillou, even though I said them both, is when you think of a 90s cartoon,
you think of Dexter.
Almost specifically Cartoon Network, because obviously there's SpongeBob and other Disney shows and whatnot, and other Nickelodeon shows like Rugrats. But when you think of a Cartoon Network cartoon from the 90s, almost certainly one of the first things that come up to your mind is the square Dexter, maybe Pikachu, or any of the other shows on the list. But Caillou is something most people definitely have to be reminded, like, yeah, that was in the 90s. Yeah, I did watch that, or I saw some episodes of it. It's not, for most people, it probably is not the first image that comes to mind when you think 90s cartoon drawing. 1990s protagonist. So it has a little bit less of a legacy, I feel. So I'll put, are we putting Caillou at 8? Is that what we're doing?
I really wish Caillou could be a lot higher.
Lot higher. What are you thinking? What's your heart saying for Caillou?
Only because I was rooting for the underdog all day long.
He's not one.
He's definitely an underdog, especially in the Cartoon Network list, which he was destined to lose no matter what, because this is a Cartoon Network's cartoon list.
Yeah,
but I was gonna try to put him one more above Courage the Cowardly Dog.
You're gonna put Caillou above Courage.
Just off of principle. Off of principle. But y'all pulled my leg with y'all's common sense and realism.
We're here to give a fair assessment, not a biased assessment.
Okay, y'all did it.
I'm giving a biased. I'm giving a biased one. Once we get to the top of the list, it's gonna be pure bias.
Yeah, pure bias top 3. Everything else is a fair assessment to eliminate the competition.
Well, I can definitely say Caillou deserves number 8.
All right.
Caillou's not even a Cartoon Network list maker. He didn't even make it. He was on PBS. He was on the public broadcast station.
And also aired on Cartoon Networks, yeah.
Aired on Cartoon Network a few times. But he definitely wasn't. He wasn't primetime Cartoon Network. Every time you saw Cartoon Network do his ad for Cartoon Network, it wasn't Caillou that showed up.
Yeah.
It was Dexter. It was Courage the Cowardly Dog. It was Johnny Bravo. It was the Puff Girls. It was even Ed.
All right.
So
I'm gonna cut you off and go for number 7.
Not Mandark.
Yes, Mandark. Mandark's got to laugh his way down.
I gotta fight y'all on this one. I gotta fight y'all on this. If y'all together on Dexter, I gotta fight y'all.
This might just be this is probably just a me thing.
I gotta let you. I'll have to fight.
I like Dexter. I like all these, but Dexter is really quick to watch. It's like what 8-10 minute episodes, if anything, for some of them.
Yeah.
If you think of 90s Cartoon Network cartoons, again, Dexter's is almost one of the first things that comes to mind, as well as Courage and Johnny Bravo and Ed, Edd n Eddy and then a bunch of 2000 shows. So his animation style, as I've said, is like the definition of 1990s Cartoon Network. You see that, you know exactly what generation, what era you're watching. You know exactly who grew up with that. Whereas, like, you know, Tom and Jerry, Scooby-Doo, Captain Planet, those other ones, it may be tougher to tell exactly when that was made, who you're talking to, that kind of stuff. But Dexter's Lab definitely speaks more of the old school animation. But I mean, I remember some scenes and plots and stuff. I don't remember the intro. One of my favorite things is one of the most popular memes is omelette du fromage. Fromage. Or he just says cheese omelet in French to that girl's ear. You remember that?
I actually do remember. Yeah.
Say that again. Say it again.
So
Whisper to me in my ear. Omelette du fromage.
did because he couldn't say something otherwise.
Yeah, you can only speak French. But otherwise, like, I don't know. Like, in hindsight, I probably should rewatch it again. But in hindsight, it kind of feels very, I'm going to say, repetitive. It's got a lot of good gimmicks and references and callbacks for older generations. But, like, I don't remember any specific episodes. I remember a couple, like with Mandark, where it's like, my dad can beat up your dad. My mom can beat up your mom, and they're crashing cars and all this other stuff. And, you know, I remember some character interactions, how...
So frankly, I remember Dexter's Laboratory just as the image as an iconic 90s cartoon. I don't remember many episodes. Many of the fights, the characters,
I remember
the storylines.
Dee Dee running down the hallway with exaggerated, like, drawings
the theme song,
of her legs.
ha,
Yeah.
ha, and then the whole crescendo, yeah. But compared to, like, the Powerpuff Girls, Johnny Bravo, and everything else, I don't have as many memories of Dexter's Laboratory. It wasn't as impression. I mean, it was great. It's iconic, but it wasn't as impression as the rest of the list.
I don't remember like episodes. I remember a bunch of memes and scenes from the show, like with the caveman and virus stuff.
Didn't he have a whole piano solo with like Elton John or something?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm gonna look that up real quick.
Wow.
But
I am baffled.
Probably because the episodes were so short. Like, it comes and it goes, and you forget what happened in it. Maybe that's what it is. Because I can't remember full episodes of that show. I remember watching it, seeing it all the time, but I don't remember having, just being like, this is my favorite episode. I have just scenes that are stuck in my head that are very quick. Very repetitive stuff every episode. Like, oh, the sister comes in and does this, or the mom's cleaning this. Or
it wasn't Elton John. It was Paul Williams.
All right.
For y'all to say that Dexter's Laboratory was ranked number 7
Fight me.
is baffling to me, because Dexter's Laboratory was something that I waited until till the TV guy showed Dexter's Laboratory and was like, this is going to be my show at this time.
Really?
Anytime Dexter came on.
I watched it when it came on. Yeah. I just, here I am 20 years later. I don't remember.
A show that I don't remember, the original Dragon Ball Z. I did not watch Dragon Ball Z religiously.
Same.
I didn't even watch Courage the Cowardly Dog religiously. Courage the Cowardly Dog was something to where I was like, I'll watch it. And then as an adult, I'll be like, let me try to understand this more. And why this was supposed to be some type of humor for most of us kids. Dexter's Laboratory was like, I got it. I understand how it felt to be a smart kid. I was in honor roll classes. Mm-hmm. This was one of those shows to where I was like, this show, I could be this character. I want to have a lab underneath my parents' house to where it's like, I'm just going to go to my room. And deep down, I'm going and inventing all these types of gadgets and gizmos. But then I also have my action figures I look up to, which then had its own spin-off show on Dexter's Laboratory, which was amazing.
Which one
I can't
was
even remember the, but I just know it was the Hulk that was emotionally damaged.
Yep, the purple Hulk.
It was Hawkeye that had a guitar and was just trying to be a star the whole time, and it was the bootleg Captain America who wanted to be a but just kept willing.
The guitar guy was an imitation of Thor because he had the lightning with the guitar. Yeah,
that's what he was. Yeah. Thor, and it was just wanted to be a star the whole time. And then I'm not even. I gotta mention.
They're called the Justice Friends, by the way.
Justice Friends.
The Justice Friends.
But my favorite was Dexter had a pet.
He did?
And
Mandark had a pet.
Isn't Mandark his
Yeah, and the pets
name?
had a feud just like the two of them.
Mm-hmm. And the pets watched the feud that Dexter and Mandark had with each other. So then they were like, you know what, as pets, I don't like your other pet. So the monkey went against the duck.
Yeah,
and
they
kept fighting
over
it and over. And they had their own, like when they came on the scene, I was like, oh, they about to fight. And there is a show that I've had a feeling that made a perfect spinoff of that, and that was Phineas and Ferb and Perry the Platypus. That was the only time I was like, you know what, Phineas and Ferb, I like y'all because of how Dexter had his pet and made him a whole side character. That's why I said Dexter has to be, for me, at least the top 5. I respect y'all saying he's 7, but I can't put him, and I'd have to put Dragon Ball Z, especially with Vegeta's terrible ass hairline when we first met him. He needs to be at the lowest as possible.
Well,
we ain't even gonna talk about Raditz.
Let's discuss this. Yeah, it doesn't have to be Dexter's. I will say most of the episodes I remember with Dexter involve Mandark. If Mandark's not there, I really don't remember a lot of the story plots or episodes, other than occasionally Dee Dee walks in and accidentally breaks something just because they needed it.
I can remind y'all.
I remember a giant lava pit for like in his lab or something when he abducted Dee Dee or something.
I'm gonna throw this also out here. I'm gonna throw this also out here. Dexter's mom is the reason Pixar is the way they are.
I would believe that. The OG.
She is the OG. The Dexter show is literally when they said thick moms can be a thing and win. Because there was an episode when Dexter's mom went to the grocery store and she had to fight off other moms in the grocery store just to get her rubber gloves.
Yeah, I was going to say for the rubber gloves. I remember that scene now that you said it. Yeah, to get rubber gloves.
Rubber gloves.
So she can get back to cleaning.
She
was...
I do like the passion, and I'm not.
But
I want to clarify something real quick. No, I want to clarify something. I haven't said Dexter's Laboratory is 7 for me. That's not my choice.
Yeah.
Whether you guys agree or not, my choice is actually Johnny Bravo this whole time.
For 7?
Yeah. I don't like it either. But in hindsight, Johnny Bravo is number 7.
I'm gonna cut you off there and say, Miles, let's meet at the middle ground and go with Dragon Ball Z.
I'm a fan of Dragon Ball Z, but I'm also getting real close to Johnny Bravo.
All right, well let's divert from Johnny Bravo so I can save his name. What's your stance for Dragon Ball Z? Why?
I would actually rate Dragon Ball Z higher.
If you put Dragon Ball Z higher, for me, I just never looked at Dragon Ball Z as one of those top shows until you got to Dragon Ball like Super, to where the animation style kind of changed.
Yeah,
I can see those being a little bit higher, a lot higher. But the very first Dragon Ball, when like Goku's like a
tail,
and he just
Dragon Ball Z is really the start of some of the most iconic Dragon Ball characters and moments and fights. You got Frieza was in this season. You got Majin Buu, the giant pink Kirby. You have a lot of the most
in it, or is he in normal Dragon Ball?
Who?
Cell. The green, not Piccolo.
He's a super.
Yeah, the green, not Piccolo. Where that one guy made a bunch of memes with Cell waiting at the tournament, like with the just standing there waiting for 7 days.
Yeah,
and a bunch of random
Cell.
That's
that's the Android Cell saga.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's this season too. That's Dragon Ball Z.
Side note, you remember those parodies, Miles, Orik, where like Ugandan Knuckles shows up and he's like, "Who the fuck are you?" He's like, "Do you know the way? If you ain't here to fight, get out."
Dragon Ball Z was what got a lot of people into anime. It's what kept the anime industry alive in America, other than like Pokemon and Naruto and One Piece. Barely One Piece at the time. But One Piece was just starting to make a trend in the area. Dragon Ball Z really was like the thing that kept anime active.
Well, because you got to literally just see basically superheroes fight. You got
fantastic memes, fantastic fight scenes, many iconic characters. As much as I may not be a Dragon Ball fan personally, even growing up and talking about it now, I still, out of respect and out of appreciation for what it does and how the story works and everything, I'd have to give it higher than 7. I can't. It's not going to be 1. I can promise you that. But it's not 7.
I respect that, and that's where I also have to now look. Dragon Ball Z.
It could be 6. I'm fine with it being 5 or 6. It's definitely not the top on this list. But it's
Dragon Ball Z, the world's strongest, compared to Johnny Bravo,
the world's strongest.
I will
Have you seen how durable that man is?
Yeah, but it's like even the animation style of Dragon Ball Z, the world's strongest. I remember these episodes, and these episodes to me was just like, like I literally was just like, oh, okay, this is Goku trying to figure out who he is as a man, and Vegeta.
Dragon Ball Z, the world's strongest was a movie. That wasn't the.
Yeah, but it was like the pinnacle for the season. It's like or the series.
Like even the series was just like, I look at it like the even the animation style. I just like, this ain't it. Like this is like I could say this is better for me than Johnny Bravo. Johnny Bravo animation style was okay, but it wasn't something that I'll look y'all in the face and say, I looked at this person as, this person's supposed to be the strong person. No, he looked like what a Lego was supposed to look like.
Yeah, I liked how weak they were. I liked watching them literally get around.
Well, that's a joke of it. Yeah, that's a joke.
And that was a joke to where I was like, he's going to get turned down again and again and again. And he's supposed to be the most fit guy in the city. And girls are still like, okay, man.
Most confident, too.
You know what? Yeah.
For me, I would slowly put him at 7, but that's also up to y'all as well.
I will bite my tongue and I will bite my pride. This hurts me to my core, but I'll agree to put Johnny Bravo to number 7. Thinking about it analytically with a bunch of stuff. The animation style, Dragon Ball had much better story, heart for the drawings, and trying to adapt the source material and characters, some of the most iconic characters in anime or TV that people still like draw and replicate and
not including Johnny, because Johnny, you can make an argument, but the other side characters that that Johnny had to deal with, interact with, there were a lot of pedophiles and sexist and misogynistic characters on there. There's an entire episode where Johnny's a guy who's teaching a date, and the guy's whole premise is he can just manipulate any woman to do what he wants. And then at the end, they all beat him up, and Johnny's like, what just happened?
Yeah. Now, the whole point of the show, again, is to be a joke about misogyny and that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the big, strong man that is like, I can walk up and go, hey, pretty mama. And spin in place. Love the spins. Love the eccentricity. But obviously, the whole point of it, even as a kid, you're he's doing something wrong.
It's a one-shtick thing that got carried on for 3-4
years.
As opposed to Dragon Ball, which had different plots, different activities, different characters, developments. Johnny Bravo.
He never learned his lesson, but that was the point. The whole point was to make fun of these types of characters.
They weren't planning for it to be more than 1 or 2 seasons, but because of demand, they found a way to make him go to Hollywood. And he went to Hollywood for a season, did a bunch of stuff, and then he came back for another season. So they just kind of carried it on, and it died.
I'll agree to put it at 7. I will say, I think I mentioned this in a previous episode when we were talking about 90 shows or something, if you remember, Miles, but Johnny is not a virgin.
He's definitely not a virgin.
No, because the Amazons were trying to sacrifice him or something. They're like, oh, well, you can only die. It only works if you're a virgin, and it didn't work. And they're like, all right, they just moved on with the plot, but obviously that's like he's like he didn't say anything explicitly, but it's implied from that scene that nothing happened, that he has done something. Yeah.
Yeah, there was an episode. I remember that.
So, all right.
So, Johnny Bravo, number 7.
It hurts my soul to some degree, but that's the nostalgia speaking.
The surprise placement came out of nowhere after 10 minutes of conversation about 2 different shows.
Two different shows,
way,
and then
Johnny Bravo.
And his name accidentally got dragged in. Almost escaped our vision. Yeah, nostalgia is definitely, in hindsight, keeping it up there for a higher list. Not even because I think it's my favorite show. I love the idea of the character, even though it's obviously a complete joke and they're making fun of.
It's also just very quotable and very memorable.
That's what I love about it. He's such a good meme. He's so memorable. All right, then. What did we say was 6? Dragon Ball Z. I'm gonna keep fighting this Dexter's Lab thing. I'm gonna drag his name up the list. we put in Dexter's Lab at 6.
Let me pour another drink on this one, because this is what we're gonna start getting into the weeds when we get to top 5.
You sipping that margarita mix still?
Yep. The Kirkland's margarita mix. I tell anybody, hey, Costco's where it's at. But Costco, you want to sponsor us always.
Yeah, we're open.
We're always open. But for the last name before we get into our top 5, and Dean, after could you slice off all the names that we already went through when we get to the top 5?
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, just get rid of them so we don't even look at them no more. But right now, I understand the fight is between Dexter's Laboratory and Dragon Ball Z, and I believe that the most iconic cartoon in history should make sure they make it to the top 5 is Dexter's Laboratory. Dragon Ball Z, especially the 1990s Dragon Ball Z, I think it deserves number 6.
Do we want to consider any other options?
I want to add a point real quick in that we are talking, and I get there is a difference between Western animation and Eastern animation. You have, Dexter's Lab, which is iconic 90s style drawing. And then you have anime style with Yu Yu Hakusho, Dragon Ball Z, Pokemon, all that kind of stuff. So the only thing I'll add is if we want to, for lack of a better word, prioritize Western animation versus Eastern animation style, we'd probably want to put Pokemon and Dragon Ball Z close together, just to kind of be fair in that assessment. But that's if we want to go that route.
Well,
I just heard Miles the animation style.
We should consider animation because that's a key feature of the 90s. Well, like Johnny Bravo is very distinctly like. It's not like the very
you look at
paper
it,
water. It's not like the watercolor paper drawings of like G.I. Joe and very fixed motion. It's very fluid, loose drawing animations, and at the same time, Eastern animation was a lot more detailed and like in terms of the shonen stuff that I was showing. Fight choreographed and everything. It had a lot more. Let's say the outlines, the outlines of the characters and stuff were much more defined and
shading, depth, all that,
all of it speaks 90s. It's before they started introducing computer software into helping with some episodes and that kind of stuff. It's very like top of its craft, and so for the cartoons, it's not like all these like loose like. When you think of 80s and stuff, like let's say Ren and Stimpy or things, you're thinking of like walls that are bending because they didn't want to draw a straight line. They're trying to make it look goofy. It's a cartoon, and instead of making a house that looks normal, it's kind of all lopsided slightly. And 90s cartoon is very unique aesthetically. It just feels looser. Dexter's Lab contracts that with himself being a very square character, but the animation around him and everything is still very loose. You know what I mean? The art style is very dynamic. But it doesn't look watered down like the 80s and 70s shows where it looks like they took out your middle school and high school projector with the lamp, you know what I mean? And they threw the laminated cover on top.
Yeah.
You remember those, Miles?
I don't know those.
Cows or something.
Yeah. So I think comparing animation is acceptable.
Yeah, the cow, the computer on wheels.
Yeah.
I still think so. Like, if we're looking at animation style in this judgment, before we make it to our top five, I think the most crazy animation style was definitely Ed, Edd n Eddy.
Oh, without a doubt. But get that name
Without
out.
a
Get that
doubt.
name off your tongue right now. We are talking about number 6.
Like,
There's a reason you didn't even name them yet. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we.
I just want to throw a little mayhem in the mix. That's all it was.
Now,
That's
if
all
you
that
want to do
was.
some mayhem, how about we talk about maybe Powerpuff Girls or Pokemon?
All right, listen, we're not trying to get canceled. We're gonna leave Powerpuff Girls up there. We're gonna
We're
throw.
talking about 90s, not the modern Powerpuff or the remade one like a couple years ago.
Yeah, that.
Yeah, we can leave Powerpuff Girls up there. I just understand.
All right. Do we want to consider Pokemon for number 6? Yes or no?
Pokemon? Absolutely not.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Just making sure. Okay, so that would leave Dexter's Lab and Dragon Ball Z.
Dexter's Lab and Dragon Ball Z. I understand what Dragon Ball Z means for us now as an older group
Yes.
because we understand that Dragon Ball Z is much higher in how we view it now because of
A lot of it's from nostalgia, yeah.
But Dexter's Laboratory was Cartoon Network.
I'm gonna cut you off here, Miles. I'm gonna agree completely. I will say if I had to pick between the two right now, I'd put Dexter's Lab above Dragon Ball Z, and I'd put Dragon Ball Z at number 6. First of all, this is obviously from a USA perspective. In Latin American countries and South America, Dragon Ball Z is, even for kids, like the number 1 show. But they also didn't have like Cartoon Network and stuff. So globally, Dragon Ball Z is definitely up there. But from a typical American childhood, multiple TV shows with cartoons to watch.
Multiple cartoon channels, yeah.
I definitely preferred watching Dexter's Lab over Dragon Ball Z, personally.
Yes. And also, I want to add that even as a kid, when you watch Dragon Ball Z and it takes powering up 2 punches and then in the next episode,
Also,
it gets a little boring. It's exciting in the moment, then you're like, nothing happened.
And also, if you just come in randomly, you don't know what's happening or why there's 7 characters standing there with their mouths open watching something. And they're all talking. You're like, who are these people? What are they doing?
Yeah, you
Why are
really
they
had to keep up with the story to appreciate it.
And
so I would also
as a
say
90s
Dragon Ball. I would also say Dragon Ball 6.
Yeah, as a cartoon, it's not that good for children in terms of like catching up and being like, what's going on? Like you miss like the last 28 episodes. You're kind of confused about why this pink gumball turned into a skinny gumball. So yeah, Dexter's Lab you can pick up. You can have a general idea how the characters are working and stuff. And as much as I was knocking that earlier, it still is a key definition of here's 90s cartoons. Here's this episodic stuff. We don't have these long series like Adventure Time now and Mystery Inc. and these build-ups. This is like the epitome of cartoons before like huge plot development started steering the shows. You know what I mean? Because then when we're looking at 2000s, we got stuff like Ben 10 and Codename Kids Next Door and Jackie Chan Adventures and other things where it's a lot more story-driven and overarching plot lines. And Dexter's Lab and 90s shows, these are like the epitome of here's these episodic episodes still coming at you.
And so I think we made the decision.
Dexter's Lab. No.
I was about to just go ahead and hang up. And walk away.
All right, end of the podcast.
All right,
Dragon Ball Z. All right, let's clean up this list a little bit. Johnny Bravo is off the list, unfortunately for me. In hindsight, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. I don't doubt that at all.
When you're first putting the list of 10 options, each one seems like a top 5 contender.
Oh
for
yeah,
sure.
definitely.
It's only when you have to start analyzing and really comparing.
Yeah. So
should be or could be.
Yeah. So
could have been.
Top 5. Here we go.
Yeah, top 5. I'm gonna keep dragging Dexter's name up this ladder. He's got to be propping it up somewhere.
Top 5. You remember Dexter's Laboratory is the
I even said it myself. When I think of 90s cartoons, one of the first images that comes to my head is the poster child of Dexter's square body with everything in the background.
I hear you. I hear you.
That square shape is so iconic.
I hear you. I hear you. And I wish everyone could remember the commercial for Cartoon Network when Cartoon Network had all the famous characters, and there was a character that came last during all of it, and I'm pretty sure his name was Courage. I think Courage for us 90s kids, we all looked at Courage was like, you know what? Your humor, we watched Courage to get to either Adult Swim or Toonami.
I disagree.
Okay.
I watched Courage because I was actually enamored with, like, where is this going? What could it possibly do? Like, yes, it was obviously a bit of horror, and the creators are like, oh no, it's a comedy. As a kid, you're like, I don't return the slab. Like, that freaked out. I really
liked Courage.
But I really liked it. Yeah, I liked the horror, creepy uneasiness of it because it just was unique. You didn't see that in cartoons.
It didn't faze me except for one episode or two. Yeah, just
the fact that
I enjoyed it.
The fact that protagonists and the characters could just disappear for the episode and just like you would like that could be the series end and you had no idea. Like it was a bunch of standalone. Like Eustace is turned into a roasted chicken. And
you know how many episodes ended? You know how many episodes ended with one of them actually, problem state, like, yeah, I'm under the ground, or Eustace transformed into something, or they're at home turned into carrots or dressed as something. The number of times it didn't end with them just all happy and sitting in the house was nice and unique.
Giant purple foot gangsters, if you remember that, the infected foot.
Stepping on them in the basement, yeah, play our game, yeah.
The duck.
I can look y'all in the face and say, the commercials for
Courage,
no, not for Courage, but just for Cartoon Network's merger towards Toonami.
Yeah,
what Dexter's Laboratory, Ed and Eddie, Powerpuff Girls, the original Scooby Doo, Our Boy Cow and Chicken, and maybe I think was the Flintstones. We'll throw it in there.
Yeah.
But the main people that would show up that would captivate people's eyes was Dexter, Scooby-Doo, Ed and Eddie, and Courage, and Flintstones. Those were the front runners that Cartoon Network needed.
Yeah.
So I'm saying the one person out of this whole group that didn't really get that list was Pokemon.
I was actually thinking of Pokemon for number 5.
I'm thinking Pokemon for number 5.
Pokemon was the morning cartoon before school.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't at night after school. It wasn't during the day if you stayed home. It wasn't. Tom and Jerry owned that time slot for 3.5 hours.
I do want to interrupt real quick. Pokemon was big because of the game and the movies. The series, the TV show is great on its own. Many great moments.
And everyone has seen an episode of Pokemon as a kid.
But Pokemon was popular because of the game franchise already.
Correct. They started
because of the movies. It wasn't because it wasn't like Dexter's Laboratory. It came out of and just was a hit on TV.
Because of the success of the card game
and turned into a TV series. Card game and everything. It was a continuation of the franchise.
Yeah, because it was like, hey, this is very successful, so let's turn it into a show. Which, we're not knocking it. It's successful, obviously. But
it made a great show. But if you think of a 90s... Pokemon is the embodiment of the 90s. Like, Pokemon is a franchise. And it came in as a franchise.
And it was
I would agree
Pokemon
is 5.
I would agree with that too, because it was definitely a morning show. So when you woke up every morning before school and before the parents woke up, before the bus came, you could watch the episode and be like, all right, cool, they caught this Pokemon this time, or they just got to this town. So you could keep up with it because it was consistent.
Who's that Pokemon? It's Voltorb, and then it's Jigglypuff, and I was so upset.
You want to be the best.
Oh my gosh, we're not doing the theme songs. If we had a basis on theme songs, Pokemon would be top 3.
Pokemon rap was the jam. I remember when they started and they were like Blastoise, Pikachu, like it was.
Yeah, no, the song, if we were to base it on music, Pokemon's at the top for sure. But we're trying to base it on the shows, the best top shows. Remember?
I'd throw it to number 5.
Brock is like a mini Johnny Bravo.
No, see, yeah, but we all, and I'm gonna throw out my knowledge of Pokemon episodes. When we found out Brock that kept kicking Ash's ass
Yeah.
in the gym had about 6 or 7 brothers and sisters he had to take care of.
Yeah.
We all were like, "Oh man, this man deserves it," and was like, "Listen." Then he found his daddy and was like, "Hey, listen, daddy, I've had a dream that I had to put on hold this whole time while you wanted to go around and play, be the best there ever was, and realize you failed. Well, guess what? You can't fail at being a daddy. Here's the rest of your kids. I'm out of here." That episode meant so much as a kid, and I didn't even know what absentee parents were, because I had both my parents.
Exactly.
I was like, "Yo, that was a deep story." You know what? That was a good story, but that story didn't mean nothing compared to the other stories, other than Ed, Edd and Eddy, which I say Ed, Edd and Eddy is real close to that 5 spot to me. But Ed, Edd and Eddy was something that Cartoon Network was able to freaking fall under, especially because Ed, Edd and Eddy also specified what it meant to have a freaking jawbreaker. And that literally put it in literally my top 5 without a doubt. Pokemon, I'm sorry, you might have to go number 5.
I think because Pokemon is so big and the story takes so long, and he eventually, after we became adults, won a title.
2 birthdays later.
Yeah, it's I think because it's so long and drawn out, like it's kind of episodic because it's very slow paced. But like they kind of definitely rushed when the series would end, and then the next one to start. Like, oh, the next game's coming out. We gotta wrap this up in like 10 episodes real quick, because they're just drawing out the lifespan of a game. So, if you weren't keeping up, kind of like Dragon Ball, then you weren't keeping up with whatever's going on. You don't know.
Pokemon did have the benefit you could just jump in and enjoy.
Yeah, where did Tauros go?
Yeah. Oh no, the Squirtle has glasses. What's going on?
You'd have no idea if you missed the episode that Pikachu was denying the Thunderstones. Like, get that shit away from me.
When
Pokemon is 5. Pokemon's 5. Now we have the top 4 debate to go on.
Now, we're not saying the whole Pokemon series is 5, just like we're not saying the whole Scooby-Doo series is number 10.
Yeah.
We
just
gonna
this
say
specific show or series that aired at the time.
Exactly.
Caillou.
Fight us in the comments.
Hell, we'll give you Miles' phone number. You can text him.
You can DM him.
Yeah.
You do that. We're going to have an hour-long debate. And I'm gonna find you in person. I'm gonna make sure you're late to work.
Oh, I gotta send you. I gotta send you a meme. Talk about the next one. Let me send you a meme real quick.
All right.
About online debating.
Ooh, number 4. This is where I already spilled my cards for number 4, and this was a show that I enjoyed, but I enjoyed when I was more of an adult because I wasn't really allowed to watch this show as a kid. And this show has 2 C's in it. And its name was Courage the Cowardly Dog. I think the first episode I watched of Courage the Cowardly Dog was the episode about the deers.
The deers?
When the deers were hunting the humans.
Yeah.
That episode, I was like, you know what? My uncle goes hunting. All the time. And I would hate for the deers to turn their guns back at him. And I just had nightmares probably for years. I ain't gonna say days. I'm not gonna front. I had nightmares for a while on that. Every Thanksgiving when my uncle was like, I'm going out hunting, I was just like deep down. I'm glad I ain't say it out loud because I just sound crazy as hell. But I deep down thought, I was like, don't let them shoot you back. So Courage the Cowardly Dog just never.
You took your shot. Now it's my turn.
Exactly.
Oh no, it's like that Family Guy meme where Peter's scoping out a deer on the water and it stands up and looks at him and points behind him, and there's the deer with the bats. You should have taken the shot while you had the chance.
Man, that I don't like, and for that deer and encourage the cowardly dog to have it like they drew that deer like it shaved its face and its head. And I remember it. I remember it to the T. The deer shaved its head like it was bald and gave itself a full shave.
Oh yeah.
I was like, it's crazy that I still remember this. Probably what? When did this come out for me? What, probably 10, 20 plus years ago, and I still can visualize. Yeah, because of my personal reason, I'm putting Courage the Cowardly Dog absolutely number one.
All four of these finalists are going to have memories. We're going to remember all of them. They're iconic. They have moments. They have characters that meant a lot. So that's not going to be a big debate. The debate really is why this one's better than another one. And
do you not remember the suave cat or?
Oh, Courage had probably some of my favorite characters.
Most iconic.
You know,
villains,
if you have one episode characters, Courage had fantastic one episode characters and
villains.
Recurring characters, great recurring villains. What I will use, because personally Courage is going to be higher, but what I will concede and use as my argument, rank it as 4, is that it did air at the very end of '99.
Yeah.
First episode was like November of '99,
November
so it just
11th. Yeah.
So it just knocked itself into the category for a 90s cartoon. But it did have a long legacy, which is why we continued it on this list of 10. Kind of like
multiple crossovers.
Yeah. It was a very popular show and series, and even still is. Like, you can go to conventions and
I mean, it was breaking news when the voice actor from Mariel passed away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What does that say about the show when the voice actor of the, like, a side character technically passed away? So
strictly on the basis that it appeared at the very end of the 90s and didn't have a full run through the 90s, I'll make it number 4. It's still above everything. It's still above everything that's below it. But for the purpose of us picking a top 3, I will knock Courage out.
Ah, nice pun. Okay.
And I really like Courage. Like, I even went out and met the voice actor Marty at a convention just to go get his signature and get a picture with him. That's how much I like Courage. That was the first that I went to at that whole convention. Not even the merch. I just went straight there.
As one of my role models said, and this will be my only addition. I personally, if I made this list, I'd put Dexter's as 4, but I will concede with Courage for various reasons. Mostly the last one of it only aired for like 2 months technically in that decade. Other shows on this list are also in 1999, but they definitely aired at like the beginning of the year. Like Ed, Edd n Eddy was January of 1999, I think. But like one of my heroes and role models said, the things I do for love, I will put him at 4. I love him. He'll probably be in my top 2 on my own list, but I will add him to 4. I will buckle my knee here, but I will fight for that number 1.
Courage is going number 4.
This hurts me. This hurts me on a personal level.
We can respect.
We're not doing this for us. We're doing this to get the facts out there.
We will not be talking for a week, Miles, after this. Actually, I'll talk to you in a couple days.
I'll see you in a couple days. All right.
Final 3.
3.
All right.
I'm gonna start this. Oh, Orik, if you want to start it, you can start it.
Dexter's Lab is number 3.
I'm using my golden buzzer. Dexter's Lab is number 3. Can't say hi.
We have golden buzzers. I would have put that. I would have dragged his name down at 9.
That's crazy. I didn't know Gordon.
I've been dragging his name through the mud the entire list. If I knew we had a golden buzzer.
I didn't know we had a golden buzzer, but I'm
using my one choice right now to be in the.
He's given a lot of. He has given a lot of concessions.
I'm gonna have to look you in the face and say,
I made a concession with Scooby-Doo, which would have been a top 4 for me. I made a concession with
Puppy Scooby-Doo?
with Kurt, huh? I told you I'm a huge Scooby-Doo fan. I said that at the start. I'm a huge Scooby-Doo fan. I really like A Pup Named Scooby-Doo. I visually remember a lot of the episodes without even watching them right now. Museum episodes, where they're in the burger restaurant with the burger monster.
They're in the treehouse.
Yeah, Greenhouse Scooby. I remember a lot of A Pup Named Scooby-Doo. I really liked it, even though it wasn't like the most canon series. But I also remember a lot of all the Scooby-Doo episodes because I'm a huge fan. So for me, I made a big concession with Scooby-Doo. I made a big concession with Courage. I even made a concession with Digimon and Johnny Bravo because I really liked it. But I understand that they're not top tier, top 3, top 4.
In retrospect, a good thing doing the list. I agree that
as much as I enjoy Dexter's, I can't put it. I just can't. After all this, I can't put it above Ed, Edd and Eddy and Powerpuff Girls. It's great. It's like you said. It's iconic. You can be iconic and still be top 3. You can be iconic and still an excellent program and still be. There's got to be a winner. There's got to be a.
But it's not as memorable for like whole episodes as the other two. I'd argue.
You had to remind me of a lot of the episodes. I naturally remember a lot of the Ed, Edd and Eddy and Powerpuff Girls. So I have to put those two in the final 2 and put Dexter's as 3rd.
Oh, my shoulders, my soul hurts.
I don't like it either, but we gotta hurt ourselves and rank them.
Listen, Linda.
Drag his name. I
can't let something do this. I can't. I have to do it. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But the Powerpuff Girls need to be number 3. They need to, without a doubt. The Powerpuff Girls.
Defend your stance.
The Powerpuff Girls, in my opinion, their storyline sucked.
You don't like women? Is that what you're telling me, Miles? You don't like women?
Like these women, I love the Totally Spies. I love Zoe 101. I love Victorious.
Which of these series that remain got a reboot so popular?
I know one thing. The Powerpuff Girls, but I still refuse to watch the reboot. I watched Zoe.
I didn't say the reboot was good. I just said it's still so popular. It got a reboot.
I will admit that I watched every minute of Zoe 102, and I am ashamed to say it because it was terrible.
Yeah,
but
it was dog water.
I want you to name your favorite characters, your from Dexter's, and your favorite characters from Powerpuff Girls, and tell me which of those characters really.
Here's the main.
You mentioned on a routine basis.
No, I'm not going to. I'm going to say when Dexter molded his beard with that black dude that was just so alpha, that's something that I could never undo. It was a ginger beard mixed with a black man's beard. It was just too legendary for me to let go. I still see that image in my head. Dexter.
That's probably just nostalgia speaking there.
Yeah, Powerpuff Girls had kid humor, adult humor, religious humor. It empowered women. It talked about the benefits of being Bubbles and super nice and also being assertive like Buttercup and also just being level-headed and smart. You had your smart character. You had your dumb characters. You had your villains with single goals. You had your villains incredibly scary like him. You had stories. It may not have been an overarching story.
You had Mojo Jojo that was good and went bad because of
back to good again. Yeah. You had your Princess with the Crown and fighting Santa. I'm the only good girl, and she beats up Santa to tell him that.
I can tell you this: when Dexter watched the show, his favorite action show, which was a black dude that was freaking buff and was like. What's that dude's name? So where it's like, I pity the fool. He
Mr. T.
He gave up Mr. T, and his name was Action Hank. That was the show. That was the show. And even as the adult humor was when Dexter's mom and dad would come on, and Dexter's dad would look at his mom and be like, "Yeah, that's my wife." No, and deep down he'd be like, "Yeah, he got a freaking." monster of a wife that's just she either in the gym or she just doing her thing and she just does her squats the whole show. And then the sister that you just hated, but you know she just living her best life. I have to say Dexter for me is at least number 2 under these list of people. Not even gonna hesitate, maybe be able to say is number 1, because Ed and Eddie, in my opinion, was average at the most. At the most was average. It was a good show. It just was not. It didn't relate unless you were. And I apologize to the people that live in trailer, but unless you were trailer park trash, it just did not relate to us average citizens of America.
How does Dexter's Lab relate? You don't have a lab.
Dexter's Lab was you were that smart kid. You strive for greatness. Like
you don't have a sister.
Like Double D and Sarah.
You don't have
and Naz.
You don't have.
We all looked at Double D as wait, Double D.
It's a smart kid.
Wait a second. I got a big helicopter flying over my head. 1 second.
We don't hear him.
Okay, cool. So even Double D at on one episode, she swapped brains with Dexter and she became the smart one.
No, Dee. That's Dee. Double D's the smart one from Etta and Eddie.
Double D was the smart one that also had anxiety.
EDD. Double D.
Double D, I remember. Yeah, Double D was the one who had anxiety issue, and regular Ed was just Ed. We just could call him Ed. He was.
Ed is the best. Do not knock that man's name down. He won't know that you're doing it, but don't knock that man's name.
He won't exactly. Ed was what we called. He was. Remember Keenan and Kel. He was
Kel.
Intentional Kel, to where I was just like, hey, listen, this man don't know what he doing, but every time he does something, it comes out clutch.
And he's living his best life.
He's living his whole best life, which I have to agree that the show was amazing. Now, I'm not going to front. I don't want Ed and Eddie to be the bottom, solely because our boy, his slogan was, listen here, Ed boy. Ed, what was that boy's name?
Ralph
was a legend, and we ain't even gonna talk about Plank. Plank deserves to be on the whole show for himself.
Ralph, but your zucchinis are soft, and your watermelons aren't round or whatever.
I don't know what culture.
Your zucchinis are soft, and your cabbage is.
Your cabbage is small. Yeah.
I don't know what culture Ralph was supposed to represent, but he killed it every time.
Perfect.
So. But I think because they weren't main characters, and for me, there was characters on Ed and Eddie that I was like, especially the Kanker sisters, I was like, no, we're not gonna glorify this. That's why I have to say is if we're gonna put Ed at the top, we gotta put Powerpuff Girls at the bottom.
Well, I wasn't talking about putting Ed and Eddie at the top. I was just talking about putting Dexter. I was talking about putting Dexter's at 3.
So that's all I'm saying. I'm saying Powerpuff Girls and Ed and Eddie have to be total opposites in this top 5.
I remember a lot more characters and their names from Ed and Eddie and the Powerpuff Girls, and scenes and stories and plots. Dexter's Lab is definitely a lot more episodic. I had to look up Action Hank. And I was like, oh, I remember him, but I had no recollection of him until I saw an image of him. I was like, I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah, and I remember the beard episode and everything too, yeah, because I saw the image of it. But, like, I had to go searching for that to remember it. I had no recollection of that from my own previous history.
I understand. I was one of those kids to where I would watch just the TV guide go by just to know when Dexter was coming on so I can plan my evening so I can watch Dexter's Lab.
Miles, do you want to explain what a TV guide is real quick?
Yeah, go ahead. Tell younger
For all y'all kids born in 2000, I hate each and every single one of y'all right now because y'all didn't have to sit down and watch the TV guide. Y'all were able to press guide on the remote control.
I mean, to be fair, we're a bit spoiled too because we had it electronic. We didn't have to open up a catalog that was written out.
No, you still could because it came in the newspaper. It came in the newspapers because I'd look at it on say what's coming on
TV
later
Guide.
in the week.
TV Guide was a channel specifically designated to tell you what every network was showing over the next like hour and a half or 2 hours. You could be like, "Oh,
And
what's
I'm
happening at
certain-
7
yeah.
p.m." and it would slowly scroll through like 300 channels and tell you what was going on, and you'd have to wait 5 to 10 minutes for it to get to your channel because every time you turned it to that channel, it just passed your number. Oh, there goes number 52. Now we gotta wait because we're at 64.
Or you gonna press the last button on your remote so you can watch a little bit of whatever was on that last channel.
Yeah.
And you better know what channel you wanted if you wanted to go to a last channel, so you can press the numbers and then go back to the TV Guide so you can swap when you would guess what time that channel's gonna come back rolling around that screen.
Remotes. You had two channels. You had the one that was on, and you had the last channel. So you could press it and you toggle between the two, back and forth. And so if you kept it on TV Guide, you could watch your show as your commercial break. Go to the TV Guide and be like, "What's next? What's on these channels? What can I watch next?" And go back.
I was always excited to see Powerpuff Girls and Ed, Edd and Eddy on the TV Guide. When I saw that, I was like, I will go watch that. Dexter's Lab was great. It didn't keep my interest.
I'd agree. I would watch other channels, typically like SpongeBob or Rugrats or something on Disney, over Dexter's Lab sometimes if I had already seen the episode.
But Powerpuff Girls and Ed, Edd and Eddy, I would rewatch.
Ed and Eddy,
even if it's the next day, I would rewatch.
So, Miles, I think we're gonna have to make a concession here. I think you might lose this, but because I've been dragging Dexter's name since number 10. There's no way he's getting number 1.
2 out of 3. If y'all do a 2 out of 3, I'm gonna have to look at y'all and just understand which one y'all gonna pick: the Canker Sisters or the Powerpuff Girls. I'm gonna have to just throw it out there.
I'm gonna pick the Canker Sisters. I'm gonna have to be honest.
You pick the Canker Sisters over the okay.
They're also that's also woman empowerment. They own the neighborhood.
Hey, not just on the neighborhood. They gave.
Let's go ahead and talk about our final 2 contenders. Dexter's 3. Whether we all agree or not, that's the consensus of 2 of 3. Let's get that on there and do our top, or our discussion for number 1.
That's what we gotta figure out.
Wait, did you not say Dexter? I thought you said Dexter's Lab was 3, Dean.
I'm willing to put it there, but I'm also willing to put Powerpuff Girls. I'm willing to concede that for Ed and Eddy to be number 1.
I misunderstood. I'm sorry.
No, I've been dragging his name since 10. It's fair. But if it means Ed and Eddy out of these 3 gets to be number 1, I'm willing to concede Dexter's as number 2. Dexter, again, is the most iconic of the animation drawings and protagonist characters. Even if he's not the best show or my favorite show or anything like that, or even has the most memes and stuff out of it or characters I remember, and when I think 90s, I do think Dexter's face. And then I think of the other stuff like Johnny Bravo and Powerpuff Girls and Ed and Eddy and all the other TV block shows. But I don't think Dexter's number 1. And I can see the argument for putting him above Powerpuff Girls. Even though I personally like Powerpuff Girls, my desire to have Ed and Eddy as number 1 far exceeds my desire to have Dexter's at number 3.
Okay.
Powerpuff Girls is good. It has memorable characters and stuff. But also, it does feel a lot more short-lived than Dexter's, and that's probably not accurate. I don't know how many episodes were in each season or each show. Powerpuff Girls was a lot more upbeat, I'd say. Dexter's was more chaotic. Powerpuff Girls was typically more upbeat. It's like, yeah, here's a problem, and we can do it. Power of sisterhood, or, conquering your emotions, or one of my favorite things with the kindergarten meme, where it's like, where Bubbles is talking to the one kindergarten girl. It's like, we're an accident. We were made in the lab. Oh, my parents said I was an accident, too.
That was a good one. That was a real.
That's what I was saying. Powerpuff Girls had a lot of adult humor.
Adult jokes, yeah.
The mayor and the secretary. You had him. You had the what was it? Not the Green Gang. Yeah, the Green Gang. You had the professor trying to find a romantic relationship. You had a lot. It was a whole.
A lot of
Dexter's was fun and chaotic, but it was really for kids.
And there was a lot of
Powerpuff Girls was really something that parents and kids could sit down, watch together, and enjoy. and frankly, we're gonna have a debate, but I would put Powerpuff Girls as 1, Ed, Edd n Eddy is 2, and Dexter's is 3. Just gonna say it. That's my rank for the top 3: Powerpuff, Ed, Edd n Eddy, and Dexter's. Because when you think iconic '90s cartoons, you think Dexter's and you think Powerpuff. Those are usually the first 2 of 3 that come up for people, because they have the animation style. They've got they've got the time period. You know, they were very big at the end of the '90s, and they just have their own personalities to them that the memory. So, I think Powerpuff Girls is the better embodiment of what a '90s cartoon was. What a good on Cartoon Network. What a good '90s cartoon was on Cartoon. An iconic cartoon. It got brought back for a remake because it was popular. It encompassed so many elements of different kinds of kids and lifestyles between Buttercup and what's her name? The evil girl, the spoiled brat. I want to look that up real quick.
Spoiled
Ed, Ed, and Eddy also had a reboot.
Princess Morbucks, the rich kid, the Princess Morbucks. Yeah, the one who I mentioned earlier, fought Santa for that movie. The Powerpuff Girls had a collaboration with John. Did Dexter's Laboratory have a collaboration?
Your mic keeps peaking. You're cutting out.
I'm sorry, I got too excited. Powerpuff Girls had a collaboration with Johnny Bravo.
Yes.
Okay, that should say something right there. They had collabs. What did Dexter's Lab collab with? What other shows were so popular that Dexter's Lab is like, let's bring you on?
Dexter's Lab had collabs.
With who?
They definitely. I don't remember off the top of my head.
Episodes? Come on,
yeah,
Miles.
come on.
Put you on the spot.
I'm not gonna fight. Y'all got me on. Y'all definitely got me on one. They had to have a collab.
Dexter's Lab had a lot of parodies, but I don't know if it had any collabs.
I don't think I had. Then I guess all their shows were like. It was older. It had to be an older show for them not to do a collab then.
No, there were older shows too that had collabs. You had Captain Planet and G.I. Joe forming together, I think, a couple times to teach lessons.
Yeah, I don't remember any. Like, I just know
they had a lot of parodies, like you said, with the Justice Friends and stuff like that. Action Hank.
They had their own. Yeah, they had their own. They must have had their own collabs within the show because, like, each character had their own spinoff, like from the pet, the monkey, from his action figures.
Mm-hmm.
I just looked it up. Powerpuff Girls had a collaboration with Samurai Jack. They had a crossover with Samurai Jack.
Well, you just made my decision.
I'm gonna have to say Dexter's Lab is number 3. I'm gonna have to keep my vote for that.
All right, so that's not the decision I made. I would say Ed, Edd n Eddy's number 3, Dexter's number 2.
All right, so this is where we're at an impasse. I say Ed, Edd n Eddy, Powerpuff Girls, Dexter's Lab. Orik is saying Powerpuff, Ed, Edd n Eddy, Dexter's Lab. You're saying
Powerpuff Girls, Dexter.
Oh, he said Ed. Dexter's number 3. 3 for 3. Well, you're still saying Dexter's is number 2. None of us are saying Powerpuff is number 3.
Yeah, we're all saying Powerpuff is number 1. I'm saying the fight right now. All right, so who's 3 for everybody?
I said Dexter.
I said Dexter.
And I said Ed. So Dexter is number 3.
Dexter's Laboratory.
Yes.
Lab for short, but I'll be a stickler about that. All right, so that means after doing so much heavy lifting to get his name out of that number 1 slot, back when the 10 was still on the table. Now we have to argue about this, and I'm going to die on that hill. Ed, Edd n Eddy's number 1 over Powerpuff.
Okay, go on.
That's it.
Yeah.
I've cast my vote.
So they both started. I just looked it up. They both started airing around.
November of 1998, and then Ed, Edd n Eddy was January 1999. They both started about the same time.
So what I'm gonna say real quick is back to a point I said. When you think 90s cartoons on Cartoon Network, you think Powerpuff Girls, you think Dexter's Lab. When you think of 2000s cartoons on Cartoon Network, you're going to think of Ed, Edd n Eddy before you think of Powerpuff Girls and Dexter's Lab. Ed, Edd n Eddy, as great as it is, its call to fame was its peak performance in the 2000s.
And its
Ed,
later
Edd n Eddy
seasons
is the sole reason Cartoon Network stayed in business in the 2000s. They kept running those reruns. That's what got them their views. Ed, Edd n Eddy saved Cartoon Network, but that was a 2000s issue.
Yeah,
and you think
its
of Ed,
later
Edd n Eddy
seasons
as
were
a
strong,
2000s show.
You're right. I think I'm mixing up my nostalgia for the 2000s and the later seasons when the animation's a little bit better and stories a little bit more concise. Well, the episode stories are a bit more concise. It's not like, oh, here's like the intro season. Oh, it does better than we thought. We'll make more episodes and seasons and give it more thought about it, the character.
I will say, I do want to point this out real quick. The creator of Ed, Edd n Eddy actually worked out with Cartoon Network when he created the show that when he was done, like he worked with them to make certain episodes or filler episodes that they asked, but he kept ownership of the show. He still has full ownership of the show, as opposed to like working with Nickelodeon and Disney where you sell the rights to them. He has the intellectual property still.
Good for him. Good for him.
So that's also why they were able to kind of drag it out the way they wanted to. But
Miles, your thoughts?
I hear Ed, Edd n Eddy. I hear 2000s show. I hear Powerpuff Girls. I hear 90s show.
All right, Miles, your thoughts?
I just want y'all to know that Dexter's Laboratory had an episode with handsome Dexter that paved the scene to a lot of famous characters like handsome Squidward and handsome SpongeBob. Just want to throw that out there. And if you type in handsome Dexter on YouTube, it is a 6-year-old video that has over 600,000 views on a channel, Dexter's Laboratory, that has 259 loyal subscribers. I just want to throw that out there. But since Dexter's already off the list, I would say Powerpuff Girls is a very legendary show. I would prefer to have Powerpuff Girls above Ed, Edd n Eddy. Ed, Edd n Eddy was a very good show. But my sole vote, and mostly because the villains in Powerpuff Girls were villains to actually freaking conquer, I say Powerpuff Girls takes the lead. Powerpuff Girls number one. If I didn't answer the question that was asked, I'm sorry. I just had that in my head. I had to get that out.
You answered it. Why you thought Powerpuff was number one over Ed, Edd n Eddy? What was your justification? You answered that.
I really like the creativity. I love the characters of Ed, Edd n Eddy. I love just the randomness of the craziness. The fact that Ed, the ED one, the dumb one, can just take his head, shove it through a wall, and be like, "Hey, how you doing?" And then the building falls, and they just keep on acting like nothing happened. I love the craziness. Like in Powerpuff Girls, the building falls, everyone's like, "Oh no, run!" Ed and Eddy, they break their school building. Like, all right, we'll see you tomorrow. It's just, I love the chaos of Ed and Eddy, but it's not. It's like Miles said. There's no like major story. The story of Ed and Eddy takes place over 6 seasons.
I mean,
Powerpuff Girls, each episode is a story.
It's episodic, but it does have some through lines that carry over between seasons.
Powerpuff Girls has a story through it all, and it has each series, including character arcs for the villains. Mojo Jojo, him, the Green Gang, or the Germs, whatever they're called. They have, each character has their own like recurring story. You see them come back. It's like, hey, remember that? Ed and Eddy was just self-contained inside the cul-de-sac in the trailer park.
Yeah, but Ed and Eddy did capture that essence, especially before, we're in the technology age now, where you would go outside and maybe not everyone had this to play with friends or in a cul-de-sac or something, but you would go outside and just be like, well, what are we doing today?
Oh, yeah. I'm not saying they didn't capture
that. That's definitely good capturing a time frame, an era back when we as millennials can still remember that feeling of just being outside for hours or hanging out with friends after school or something, just trying to figure out what to do. Games were just introducing, and TVs and stuff were more common in people's households, which that definitely captured. But what you said earlier, Orik, about how it's definitely more of a 2000s, and the later seasons are a lot more heavy lifting for the show, the series, I concede and I agree that Powerpuff Girls should be number one. Similar to Dexter's Lab, Powerpuff Girls is one of the first things that you remember when you think of 90s cartoons, episodic, and I think it's structured better than Dexter's Lab. It's definitely, when you think 90s and you hear like Powerpuff Girls, you're like, yes, this is 90s show. It's aesthetics, how it's drawn, how it's animated, the stories, etc. Yeah, I would agree with that. So that's our list. That's our list.
It's officially,
and that's not even talking about all the going into depth about like the women empowerment, and children can learn some lessons from depending on which traits they want to attach to, with Buttercup or Bubbles and Blossom, and etc. Or watching the parent dynamics,
or just the role models of the professor being a good
parent,
and
parent dynamics. So, because even the adults had to learn lessons and admit to the kids they made mistakes. So,
I respect it.
All right, you want to run down the list one last time, Miles?
All right, let's go ahead and in order of defeat. Number 10.
The honorable mention.
Well, the honorable mention is
Captain Planet.
Captain Planet. We just gonna throw you out there. We appreciate everything you did, but yeah, we couldn't put you on this list, absolutely. But number 10, A Pup Named Scooby Doo, was a good show. It was a good show, but once you did Fred hairline in middle school, and they said junior high. That was the description of a pup named Scooby Doo.
It's not junior high. It's
elementary. No, it's junior high.
Is it middle school? It's middle school.
Yeah, that's middle school.
He's got his hairline's receding past his ears on the sides.
Ears on both sides, and then
in the movie, he's got a mini Vegeta going.
Back, unless it's a couple. And we ain't gonna say Fred got the Trump syndrome. We ain't gonna do that. for that, it was like, listen, you can't. Like the show as a whole just felt goofy and just it wasn't it.
It definitely it captured the moment of the time, the trend of the time. Yeah.
Number 9, Digimon. You had us, but you lost us.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
That's in the beginning. There was a lot of potential. Just didn't hit. It didn't hit. We wish we could have put Beyblade in this category, but it was 2000s. It just didn't make it.
Yeah.
All right, number 8, Caillou. Caillou, we appreciate you just for being here.
We appreciate you more for what you did back when you saved the world and 15 at One Punch Man.
Absolutely. You grew up. You grew up. We wanted to make sure you had.
You learned a lot of lessons. Yeah, you got stronger.
We appreciate you. You didn't turn out like number 7, Johnny Bravo.
You know what? Good. Yeah, good segue.
Johnny Bravo. We appreciate you. You showed us what not to do.
Yeah.
Especially in cancel culture era. You Johnny Bravo, you wouldn't survive right now. Be in jail.
He taught a generation before they knew they needed to be taught.
You taught a generation that half the generation that followed you, they ain't with us in society right now. It's okay. It's okay. Number 6, Dragon Ball Z.
Mm-hmm.
Dragon Ball Z was good. Dean, you got any remarks for Dragon Ball Z?
I mean, I'm pretty sure that's most people's first introduction to anime. If they ever got into it as a kid, it would just show up on TV and like, what is this? people powering up in karate and kung fu and drawings. Because again, most of the cartoons at the time, even Pokemon and Digimon, it was like monsters and big evolutions or loosely drawn animation styles and like happy, funny. And here comes Dragon Ball, like all serious. I mean, it's goofy, but yeah, all serious with kung fu's and battling and leveling up, and like it gave people an idea of like, yeah, I can become better, I can be stronger.
Dragon Ball Z 100% started the era of if you can do enough push-ups to get strong, you can probably go through a wall.
If you believe in yourself enough and you really dedicate yourself to something, you can do it.
You can do it.
Yeah. That's why I never watched the show.
Exactly. And we all grew up watching, which we all ended up hating the game and the card game that came out.
Yeah.
Pokemon. Because Pokemon card game ain't say nothing about energy cards. We were like, I guess
or trainer cards. Or trainer cards. Can we talk about trainer cards? We'll talk about trainer cards a different day.
Yeah, we'll talk about trainer cards. But guess what? I got a Charizard. Well, do you got Charmander and then you got Charmeleon? I guess you can't play that card in this game. See, that's where the game just did not match the show. How does Ash still have a Squirtle and a Bulbasaur, but he got a whole Charizard that don't listen to none of his moves? See, Pokemon.
How does he get a gym badge by turning on the sprinklers to kill the Onix? I can't do that in the game. I can't Thunder Shock my way through an Onix. I've tried.
My Pikachu yellow. My Pikachu yellow on my Game Boy. I'd never allowed that move to happen.
Oh yeah.
My Pikachu had to be level 55 before I even was able to attack with quick attack to destroy rockets in the Rock League.
Oh, and Gen 1 Pikachu looks nothing like the Pokemon Pikachu.
Looks like an actual rat.
It looks like a plush doll, that kind of a beanbag plush doll that just kind of sat for a while. Yeah.
Yep.
It just settled in itself.
Yeah, it's like, I'm happy. I'm a fat ass rat. Anyways, the show.
That's what.
Yeah.
Pokemon. We appreciate everything you tried. You tried to make us better people, but at the end of the day, we just have to look you in the face and say,
Courage did a better job at 4, making us a better person.
And I agree. And that's why we appreciate everything you did. You did make it to number 5. You made it to the top 5, but you couldn't make it past Courage, the Cowardly Dog, at number 4.
Love that purple dog.
Or you probably can give a better explanation of Courage, because I didn't grow up watching Courage.
It's all about the things you do for love.
Yeah, honestly.
No, it's a great perspective on just things are scary. You don't know what to expect. But at the end of the day, you do your best and you'd be surprised what the outcome is.
Yeah, honestly.
There's no need to give up when you still have a chance to try.
At the end of every episode, Courage was almost always smiling about something that happened. Even if he got transformed into a duck or whatever, he's like, yeah, that's over. We're done. And I'm back at the house.
Appreciate what you have, too. It's all about appreciating what you have and what you could have lost.
And don't be greedy. Stupid dog.
Wooga wooga wooga.
Yeah, we forgot about the intro entirely. Yeah, that was meta. Now introducing Courage, the Cowardly Dog Show. Stupid dog, you made me look bad.
I remember that, yeah.
Wooga wooga wooga.
Another good intro, which was still one of my favorite intro, Dexter's Laboratory. It was just the theme. Doon, 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 doon. No, that's
Powerpuff Girls.
No wonder they're number 1.
Dexter's Laboratory now because of Powerpuff Girls.
Dexter's Lab was who. It had that whole like crescendo build up at the start with a bunch of choir people, and then just I can't imitate it because I'm not a good singer.
I just got
a crescendo, yeah.
I just completely blanked on Dexter's theme song, which was a bop when I remember, because
I'll play it for you when we're done with the recording. Let's finish this up.
Gotcha. But Dexter's Laboratory was one of my favorite shows to watch, because it was just something that I always grew up was like, listen, I'm trying to be the smartest kid ever. I'm trying to make sure my grades are high. I want to make sure that everything is to pieces. Now, if sometimes I wanted to grow up and be like the Action League or whatever his superhero, and then also his pet was a badass. The pet was Dexter's
Super
Laboratories.
Monkey. Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure it was Monkey.
Yep.
Was what I saw, which then transformed me into a fan of Codename Kids Next Door. Because he went up to space and he had a boss he had to listen to. We didn't know what he was saying the whole time, but apparently his boss understood what he was saying. Dexter's Laboratory, still, we appreciate you. You're still in the top 3. I felt like I was solely dragging you along to be the top 3.
You were fighting me the whole way. You took him up 7 slots, so that's good. You did good. 7 slots. Yeah, he's been in the conversation since minute 1.
100%.
Real quick though, I'll cut you off. I don't know if the intro can get picked up, but here's a quick capture.
There it is.
That's Dexter's Lab.
That was the intro of Dexter's Lab.
Yeah,
amazing.
Right, crescendos, like Orik was saying. But yeah, last 2. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off there.
Last 2, the number 2, which barely made it to number 1, because we definitely had a conversation. The 2 brothers with different mothers.
What?
The three brothers and the 3 sisters. None of them are actual family.
Yeah, none of them are family. You're thinking of the Canker sisters.
Yeah, we ain't talking about the Canker sisters. We're not gonna talk about any other sisters other than the main, the winner of the
winning 3.
But Ed, Edd n Eddy was a show that I enjoyed to watch a little bit older, not as a kid. So I was just like, I just felt I was just like, yeah, these are the kids that deserve to be in timeout. But they definitely deserve to be one of the most iconic Cartoon Network shows that our generation grew up watching. Orik, what positive things you say for Ed, Edd n Eddy?
I think everyone had someone they could relate to in Ed, Edd n Eddy to some degree. I will say that.
Rolf carried the show.
Yes, and Plank.
Rolf was 50% of the humor of that show. When he was on scene, you watched. You didn't care who else was there. You're like, what's Rolf gonna?
And he was definitely there for the parents. Parents understood everything he was saying in jokes, like, oh, look at the subtleties of what he's saying. But as a kid, you thought it was funny, but just when he's talking about,
he's just so random. He's just so energetic. And at the end of the day, he actually likes the Ed boys compared to the rest of cul-de-sac. He's like, I don't see the, but everyone else says no, so I'm gonna say no.
He rips off his shirt when he's angry. I love it. Yeah, Rolf carries it, but also the Ed boys themselves carry it. Just their constant
Ed,
dynamic.
Edd n Eddy is just a show about community.
And they would fight. They would bicker. They would split up. They weren't just completely in unison with things. It showed you what having friends was like and how you have to work around it sometimes.
That's true. That's true.
But yeah, they don't compare to Powerpuff Girls in terms of probably the most iconic 90s, let's say, scene or image in people's heads is the 3 of them up there with their rainbow logo right behind them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
That's their closing. It's the do 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 do.
Yeah.
Girls save the day.
That jingle definitely says 90s also.
That jingle is a winner. Well, the number 1. We're gonna make sure we specify and give them their credit.
Not just ignore the name, yeah.
And not just ignore the name. The Powerpuff Girls. How do we even remember their theme song?
It's
Sugar.
I mean, you just got Dexter's Lab mixed up with it.
And Everything Nice. Once the Powerpuff Girls were born. That like without just I understand why this is number 1.
Chemical X.
I tried to fight it. I tried to make Dexter number 1, but I understand why this was born. But to then find out that Mojo Jojo was there when the Powerpuff Girls were born. Which
spoiler, hold on.
I will throw it out there. Throw it out there. If you see that Powerpuff Girls is number one, you should know the story. If you not, stop right here because I'm about to go ahead and tell you the story of the Powerpuff Girls.
All right, we'll cut you off. We will cut you off there. Mojo Jojo. He's got a lot more to him. Definitely watch. It's worth the payoff.
All the villains have good characters, good stories.
They're more than one dimension. Yeah, they're more than one dimension.
Understand. They're number one for a reason.
Yeah.
And I was fighting that reason, but they overcame. They overcame.
Just like in the adventures they go on.
Now that would be crazy. Marvel brought the Powerpuff Girls as a superhero in Marvel. That would be amazing. Oh, they did that with the Marvels. It makes sense.
But yeah, everyone, thanks for joining. This was the Unfiltered Pineapple Podcast. This was a little bit of a long one, but this was definitely overdue. This is definitely something we're very passionate about, clearly.
Very well discussed. Very
and this
thorough.
is probably an easier list. We haven't even touched 2000s or Nickelodeon or other things.
Absolutely.
So let us know your thoughts. Tell us what where we got it wrong. But this is the Unfiltered Pineapple official list for 1990s Cartoon Network cartoons. We kept it specifically to Cartoon Network too. We didn't even include those Nick shows or live actions or anything. So give us your next theme for the next one. Any final words, gentlemen?
I appreciate y'all. Appreciate seeing y'all on another one of our Pineapple Podcasts, Unfiltered Pineapple Podcasts. And
it's only been 2 seasons. It's only been 2 seasons. We're starting the third next. Yeah.
I always forget how unfiltered we are.
Yeah.
I just think we just tell the truth.
Clearly, there's no cuts or takes. Yeah.
Or we just give it out.
Orik.
Yeah, just have a good day, everybody.
All right. Miles, thanks for coming up with the idea and the topic. We're going to see what the next one is. So
2000 is about to be crazy.
Oh, yeah. We might need more than 3 people for that. All right. Catch y'all later.